All right, I'm going to walk you through how I usually record guitar for most of my songs. So I'm going to take you from the start to finish. So the first thing that I'm going to do is actually grab the guitar, get it plugged in, plug it into the audio interface, and then I will jump into FL Studio and show you how I set up the channel in order to be able to record it, and also how to use an effects plugin, which I use Guitar Rig, but there's also ones that are called Amplitude or other things which give you amp simulators, pedals, and other effects that you can create a guitar tone for yourself. So I'll show you the process of that. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm plugging that into the second channel on my audio interface. And then plug in the other end into my guitar. And now let's go ahead and jump over to FL Studio. So now you'll see I'm in a blank project for FL Studio. So I'm going to come over and open up the mixer channel. So this is F9 on my keyboard shortcut for getting into there. I'm just going to go ahead and pick insert 5. So there's no magic to picking insert 5. I'm just looking for a blank track that I can use. So essentially this says I want to route this audio through these particular effects over here before it goes to the master track. And what that means is I can do things on this channel only that I don't do anywhere else. And so it won't affect any of these other tracks over here. So what I'm going to do is come down to this first slot over here on the right side, and I'm going to bring in Guitar Rig, which is the plugin that I use for like an amp and pedal simulator for electric guitars. And then I'm going to choose input 2, which is where I plugged in on my audio interface. And I'm just going to say, you can say post effects or post EQ. What that means is it's going to record the effects and kind of bake them into the audio channel here. So right now, if I strum on my guitar, you see that it's coming through, but it's coming through kind of low because I don't actually have any sort of effect picked up here yet. So I'm just going to pick up something simple. I'm going to grab this AC tremolo one as just a default thing. And so now when you hear the guitar, you'll hear it has an actual effect on it. And I'll probably bring the output down a little bit here because it's kind of loud. So I might just drop the here. And I'll go back to over here. It's a little bit better, but it's still kind of loud. So I might drop this down a little bit more. I'm gonna put on some headphones so that way I can really track what I'm doing here. All right, so now I have the guitar plugged in. I have the effects put in on the channel. So you can hear everything coming through. And then the next thing that I need to do to set up to record is actually to put it into song mode over here. And before I start recording, I need to figure out kind of what the tempo is for what I'm playing. So I'm going to be playing something along the lines of just a quick chord progression. All right, so if I had to go and just play this here with this on, that's a little fast, so I'm going to lower down the tempo. So I turned on, let me explain what I'm doing really quickly. So I've turned on the metronome, and this will help you just kind of keep time as you're recording things. And I'm using this to slow down the BPM. I'm going to probably come down here to about 110. All right, so that seems okay. But what I want to do is just get the tempo set so that as I'm recording, I have kind of a guide in terms of what I'm going to be recording to, so that as I add in other instruments or as I add in other layers to this song, it'll be easy to match those things up because it's on a grid that's been counted out to. It has a tempo. It has the metronome that's kind of giving me a guidance on where I need to be when I'm recording this thing. So now I have the song mode set up. Let's go back to the insert track. I'm going to right click here where that record button is armed, and I'm just going to name this electric. And then, so that file is going to be where, what the name of the file is that gets recorded. And then I'm going to go ahead and start to record this. So I'll arm it for recording, and then I'll press the space bar, or I can push the play button over here. And this button is turned on right here, which will give me a count in before it starts. So it's going to count down 4 before it actually starts recording. Sometimes I'll give it an extra 4, so it goes up to here to this second bar over here before I start recording, so that it doesn't cut anything off right at the very beginning. So I'll do that here just to kind of show you what that looks like. So I went ahead and just recorded that chord progression, but went through it twice. So now I have this thing that's essentially like, looks like about 16 bars worth of material here. And so you'll see that it kind of starts at this beginning, and then the chord progression starts over here. And I'm moving it over so you can see the kind of distinct 4 bars here, 4 bars, 4 bars, and 4 bars. But now I have the ability to then go in and create more layers, like record something else, or I can record other instruments or start laying in drums or bass or something else along those lines, because now I have an initial progression and it's laid out on this grid for the song, so I can start building around that a little more cleanly. Hopefully that was helpful for you to be able to see the process that I use to record. You'll have to figure out what guitar emulator or amplifier simulator or whatever you want to call it that works best for you. There's a couple different ones that you can use. Guitar Rig is one that I use. I've started using Amplitude a little bit, which is another good one as well. And then I think there's another one called, there's some other good ones as well that you can do some research into. Just look for like Guitar Amp Simulator or Guitar plug-in, something along those lines, and you should be able to find something along those lines. But hopefully this is helpful for you to be able to see how I record electric guitars when I do that. And then I can try to show you guys an example of a song where I've recorded a couple different layers of things, so you can see kind of how this plays out in the larger context of when you're building a song.